This is one of those tales where halfway through you're thinking, surely she didn't, and then she absolutely did. Today's story takes us to Italy, late 1930s, a time of rationed books, fascist speeches echoing from radios, and neighbours who knew each other's business better than their own. And in the middle of all that, there's Leonarda Cianciulli, a mother fortune teller and part-time soap manufacturer, except her recipe book. Let's just say it didn't belong anywhere near a kitchen. Leonardo was born in 1894 in Montella, southern Italy, and if we're honest, her life could have been a tragic opera before it even began. A rough childhood, poverty, and a mother who made Cruella de Vil look like Mary Poppins. Leonardo tried to straighten out her life, got married, had kids, opened a little shop in a small town called Correggio, and for a while it looked like things might finally be going her way. But she was consumed by superstition. She had miscarriages, she lost several children, 10 according to her own memoir, and a fortune teller once told her, "All your children will die." You'd think most people would roll their eyes and move on. Not Leonarda. She wrote that prophecy into her brain like it was law. Her surviving son, Giuseppe, became her obsession, and when Italy started preparing for war in 1939, she convinced herself that fate, or something darker, was coming to collect. If anxiety had a physical form, hers would have been doing laps around her kitchen, chain-smoking. Now I'm a parent, I get it. You'd do anything to keep your kids safe, but Leonarda's definition of anything was about 7 postcodes past reasonable. She became fixated on the idea that she could outwit fate by offering other people's lives instead of her son's. It's twisted logic, but in her head, it made perfect sense. She ran a small fortune-telling and advice shop where lonely, desperate women would come in for guidance. A bit of palm reading, a sprinkle of "you'll meet a tall dark stranger" and a good cup of tea. Except this particular agony aunt was taking her clients' problems very literally. Faustina Setti was the first to fall into Leonarda's trap in December 1939. A middle-aged woman desperate for companionship, Leonarda told her she found her a lovely husband waiting in another town. A dream scenario, right? But there were a few odd rules. Faustina had to keep it a secret and write letters to her family in advance, saying she'd moved and was happy. If that doesn't scream, "you're about to be murdered," I don't know what does. Faustina showed up at Leonarda's home with excitement, maybe a touch of nerves. Leonarda offered her wine, because apparently nothing says safe journey like being dosed by your matchmaker. When Faustina was out cold, Leonarda killed her, coldly, efficiently, and then dismembered her body in the kitchen. Her later confession, word for word, said, "I threw the pieces into a pot, added 7 kilos of caustic soda, stirred until the pieces dissolved into a thick, dark mush, which I poured into several buckets and emptied in a nearby septic tank." But she didn't stop there. She said she dried some of the remains in the oven, ground them and mixed them into flour, sugar, chocolate, milk and eggs. Then she baked cakes with the human ingredients, which she gave to her neighbours, and apparently she ate them too. Leonarda kept the woman's money around 30,000 lira and claimed it was a payment for matchmaking services. I mean, technically it was the last service Faustina ever got. Her next victim, Francesca Soavi, was a former school teacher looking for work in early September 1940. Leonarda told her that there was a great position waiting for her in northern Italy. Same plan. Write letters to your friends and family, keep quiet, bring cash. She did, and she ended up meeting the same fate as Faustina. Leonarda later said, her blood was thick and dark, and when it boiled, it made excellent soap. I mean, what do you even do with that sentence? She's standing there, all apron and smiles, talking about human remains like she's comparing washing up liquids. Imagine living next door to that. Borrowing sugar from her suddenly feels like an extreme sport. She kept 3,000 lira from Francesca's money and, once again, baked cakes and made soap. You'd think someone might start connecting dots, but no. This was wartime Italy. People went missing all the time. And Leonarda was the friendly shopkeeper who helped everyone. Nobody suspected a thing. The final victim, Virginia Cacioppo, was a former soprano singer who'd once performed at La Scala in Milan. Life had been cruel to her. She was older now, struggling financially, and probably desperate to feel useful again. Leonarda told her she'd secured her a job as a secretary for a theatre director in Florence. It was all lies, but Virginia believed her. And just like before, she was told to keep it quiet and write letters in advance. Honestly, if someone asked me to write a "Don't look for me, I'm fine" letter, I'd be suspicious before ink dried. Virginia visited on the 30th of September 1940, drank the drugged wine, and was killed with an axe. But this time, Leonarda went one step further. She melted her down like the others, but claimed her flesh was richer and more refined, because Virginia had been a sweet woman. She even described the soap she made from her as creamy, and the cakes as sweeter. If you're feeling queasy, join the club. And that's where Leonarda's luck ran out. Virginia had family who noticed when she didn't turn up in Florence. Family who recognised her jewellery later being worn by, you guessed it, Leonarda. The police came knocking, and at first, Leonarda played the innocent, insisting she just helped the woman move away. But when they accused her son Giuseppe, she broke instantly. In true over-the-top mum fashion, she confessed everything to protect him. Every grisly detail, no hesitation. It was as if she'd been writing to brag about it. She even corrected the investigators on how she did it, like a cooking tutorial no one ever asked for. She told them exactly how much lye to use, how long to boil, what tools she used, and how the soap turned out. I mean, come on. When you're giving recipes to the police, you've gone way past remorse. She justified everything with the same line, "I did it for my son." The ultimate Italian mother, except she replaced lasagna with lye. Her trial in 1946 was massive. Crowds gathered just to see the soap maker of Correggio. She played the part almost theatrically, proud, articulate, and disturbingly calm. The court found her guilty of 3 murders and sentenced her to 30 years in prison and 3 years in a criminal asylum. And do you know what? She apparently thrived inside. She worked in the prison workshop, made soap, again of course, and wrote her own memoir, An Embittered Soul's Confessions. She died in 1970, aged 76, from a brain hemorrhage. Now, if we zoom out a bit, Leonarda isn't your typical murderer. She didn't kill out of rage or greed, not entirely. She killed out of obsession, superstition, and this warped sense of maternal protection. It's the kind of story that makes you wonder how much of evil is born from fear. She genuinely believed she was saving her son, and maybe, in her twisted way, she thought she was doing the right thing. That's what makes her story so chilling. It's not pure sadism, it's delusion dressed as devotion. A mother's love turned toxic. Even her parting act was bizarre. She gave the police her copper ladle, the one she used to skim the fat from the cauldron, as a gift. Imagine thinking that's a parting gesture. So what do we make of Leonarda Cianciulli, the woman who thought human sacrifice could buy divine protection? 3 women gone, a town forever changed, and a legacy that refuses to wash off. Was she maternally ill, or just power-hungry, in a world where women rarely had any? Maybe it's a mix of both, but the way she described her crimes with that unsettling calm. She was methodical, cold, and proud of what she did, and yet, part of me thinks she genuinely thought she'd cracked some cosmic code. She wanted to cheat death, and for a while, she did. Do you think you'd be one of those poor souls eating her biscuits? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.